Previously on Adventure They Wrote.
The Countess is going to sort of usher Triest over to her very comfortable chair, get some china teacups, and pour some of the alcohol that she had taken from Felix and offer it to her.
The night that he was murdered, he came to the club to tell me that he was leaving and that we couldn't see each other anymore.
Doesn't make a lick of sense. Gang leader doesn't just leave town on his own.
You know, I've got a feeling that Triest there is, hiding something from us.
Oh, my dear, perhaps you could share with us one of your fonder memories.
They call it the City of Splendors, Jewel of the North. And that may be true, but for a lady like me, it's so much more. It's incredible the gritty little details you can get out of someone when you're singing to them from a stage. And when you hit the right notes, they'll tell you all their deepest, darkest secrets. So yes, to some, it's the City of Splendors. But to everyone else, it's just water deep.
Okay, so she tells you the story of the first time that she met Grucken, where it was her first night at the Jade Dancer, and she went to go play, and he was there with a large party of Luskins that were a part of his crime family, and they were very raucous, and they were having a great time by Luskin standards, and it was borderline carnage by anyone else's, and she was super worried about it. But the second that she started to play, Grucken's attention was just riveted to her, and it was as if the rest of the club just kind of melted away. And despite the frantic energy of the rest of his gang and the different, like, the carousing and drinking and fighting that they were doing, he was just sort of laser focused on her, and he had been like that every time that she played since.
After she's done telling the story, the Countess is just going to wipe the corner of her eye, like the dewiness around the corner of her eye, and she's going to come over, put a hand on Triest's heart, and say, "My dear, you must cherish that memory as long as you can, and that's how you shall remember him." And she sits down and sort of coyly pulls out a list.
Yeah, because you might want to write it down. When you get older, you forget things, Gilly says when you pull out the list.
Oh, don't mind him. He doesn't have a soft spot in his heart, but I know you do.
You have plenty of soft spots.
Perhaps you could aid us further in honoring your dearly departed. And do you suppose one of these names rings a bell as an associate of Grucken's or a patron of the Jade Dancer? And she pulls the list of the 10 nobles that she figured could buy up the lands.
She looks at the list that you provide, and she does actually kind of recognize one of the names. She says one of the names on the list is Frederick, and she believes that she may have heard that name before. You recognize this name, Kat, as probably, like, this was the name on the list that you were like, maybe I put this here, maybe I don't. Like, if he were, he's like probably the 10th richest noble and most powerful. So you were really struggling with that one, like whether or not he would actually go up there. Because while he does, control a lot of wealth, he's also not that smart.
That makes sense. The Countess marks a little asterisk next to Frederick's name and folds up her sheet and just, again, sort of gently pats her hand and says, "We shall do our very best to find the culprit behind Grucken's demise."
She says thank you, and she asks if it's okay if she leaves now.
The Countess just sort of looks around the room. Her eyes are just sort of darting around like a chameleon.
Gilly looks at the Countess, says, I think she'll be safe.
We should give the poor lady an escort. Get her out of town.
Does anybody know anybody at the docks?
Perhaps Gilly?
Yeah, I got friends over there.
Yeah, Gilly would know people at the docks. Triest tells you that she actually has chartered a ship or a spot on a ship to take her south.
Gilly turns to her and just says, if you want, I can take you down there. I mean, anyone else is welcome to join too.
And before she leaves, I just want to ask where she's going so that we can keep track in case we need to find her again.
Oh yes, perhaps he's left something for you. We should like very much to give that to you. Should we find something in his estate or will or what have you?
Gilly found the flask of whatever alcohol it was that the Countess put in my tea earlier. And he's kind of unscrewing the top and takes a swig and says, yeah, we'll keep it just between us two. We won't tell anyone else. So don't get worried too much.
The Waterdeep dicks never stab anyone in the back.
Waterdeep Detective Agency.
Unless they deserve it.
So is that what you guys want to do? You want to take her down to the docks?
Yes, but we wanted to ask her, and this is where we were going, where is she headed on the ship so that we know where she might be going?
So we can send her a letter.
Yeah, she says, I'd only gotten as far as south.
Where's the port of call for the ship?
Beautiful Port Ninezaru.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, that's where it's heading.
Really?
The map that I have won't load, so yeah, that's where it's going.
I detected a note of sarcasm when you said that. I'm assuming the Port of Nozaru isn't good.
Port Ninezaru is Chult. So, at least she'll have some good Chultish meat pies.
Chult is south, at least.
Very, very south.
So yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Questionably less safe, possibly.
Nianzaro is fine. I know some people that came from Chult. They're fine.
Few dinosaurs.
They make a heck of a pie.
So good, right?
The seasoning. It's perfect.
Ask for our friend Azaka.
Other than that, I think we're ready, at least Gilly is, to escort her to the dock so that she can board the ship.
Yeah, Doran will be going as well in St. Bernard form.
We call him Doggo Doran in that form.
Anyone else?
I think the Countess is going to write some letters at her roll-top desk, basically looking to have a formal tea or visit with Frederick.
Okay.
Max will go with Team Small.
Are we really splitting up small and tall again?
I'm just kind of thinking about it.
I mean, the Countess doesn't have to, this doesn't have to happen right now, but I figure there's some formality required to meet with nobility, so she probably needs to sit down and spend some time writing a letter and having it sent off and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Talia, what is Selene going to do?
I actually think I will go with them to the dock.
Okay.
When the Countess is left alone, she's going to pull from one of the drawers a hidden flask.
The good stuff, right?
The good stuff.
The stuff that she doesn't break out when Gilly is around.
Yes.
Excellent. So you bring Triest back down to the docks, or over to the docks, rather. And I would like you all to make perception checks.
19.
As did Doran.
Gilly got a 15.
Max got a natural 20.
What?
It's a 25 total for Max.
Talia got a 19 too.
Perfect.
So in a great combination of you guys being natural born stealth detection machines and this guy being totally incompetent, you realize in relatively short order that you have a tale on the way to the docks.
Ruh-roh.
Someone is following you.
Fletch, is this someone that's following us? Is this like can we get a decent enough look to tell? Is this like a human? Is it like a halfling?
Definitely human-sized.
Yes, what does my 25 perception tell us?
Yeah. Let's start with the Inquisitive's maxed out roll and then just go down from there.
Yeah, for real. So human-sized, wearing a cloak. Intentions seem nefarious. They are making moderate effort to conceal their presence, but nothing too... They are not like an expert assassin, but they are trying to conceal their presence.
And there is just one of them.
Yes, there is just one.
That we can see.
Yes.
All right.
Max would like to motion to Doran as he is in St. Bernard form to maybe do a loop around, like go and run off and do a dog thing, so that as we are walking with Triest, maybe he can get the jump or get behind the person that's trailing us.
Doran will make a bit of a show, being excited about some sort of smell, and run off into an alley and wait for that guy to pass.
Oh, I really like that. I was gonna have you roll some kind of deception check, but I don't think you have to. I think that's just such a good dog thing for you to do that you just do that, and the guy is like, stupid dog.
Ruff, ruff, ruff.
So you keep walking Triest. She is completely unaware of what's happening around her. She has no idea. And Brad, as they pass the alleyway and then the guy passes the alleyway, he spares you kind of like a quick glance to be, basically just to make sure that you're still doing dog things.
I will be peeing on garbage.
Perfect. And he keeps going after them. Go ahead and make another perception check, Brad.
Dogs get advantage on perception checks if it has to do with smell or sound, just FYI.
Then roll a check with advantage.
And I rolled 2 2s. So that's 4.
You smell garbage.
Smells good.
Yep.
Well, after he walks by, I was going to walk out and just kind of
tail him.
Basically tail him now.
Yeah. That's fine. So the rest of you get to the docks. And I'm imagining that Max and Gilly, you guys are both kind of keeping an eye on this guy as surreptitiously as possible.
Absolutely.
Sort of like out of the corner.
Yeah.
And like I said before, he's kind of a human-sized guy. He's wearing a cloak so that you can't get a good look at his features. But he does seem pretty intent on you and where you're going.
Max is going to give a knowing glance to Gilly and then is going to whistle and do the whole like, hey buddy, come on buddy, come on back buddy, and whistle for the quote unquote dog to come running past.
All right, Doran will play along with that.
And maybe trip him or something.
Yeah. I, if you don't mind, I'd use the Mastiff stat block, so I'd have 13 strength. So I'd give him a good old hip check as I ran by.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Roll your strength check.
9.
He seems like pissed off. He stumbles a bit, but he doesn't go flying or anything. And he kind of rebounds in relatively short order.
Hands with shot.
As he stumbles, I want to like get all the way up on him if I can.
How far away is he from us?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question.
He's been keeping his distance. He's not. Basically, he wants to keep an eye on you but not get too close. So I would say he's 20 or 25 feet away.
Oh, yeah, that's still pretty fast. That's close.
Also, how crowded is this area in case we want to mix it up with them?
Moderately crowded. This is the waterfront, and it's the middle of the afternoon, so there are people kind of all over the place, buying fish, selling fish.
It's pretty fishy.
Carrying fish around, throwing fish through the air.
We can't just go after this guy in public like that.
Well, I would want to be as discreet as possible, but I would want to, with 30 feet of movement, I would want to get up to him and kind of press a dagger into like the small of his belly and just say, "What do you want?"
Can I add to that intimidation and wrap my tail around his leg?
Yeah. Max, go ahead and roll an intimidation check.
That's a 10.
Probably about as intimidating as goblins get.
I'm actually going to roam around behind him and make sure none of his buddies are coming.
Yeah. Selene, go ahead and roll your intimidation too.
That's a 6.
Not very intimidating.
Not very intimidating.
Gilly's just going to keep an eye on Triest. I'm just going to, because everybody else is sort of focused on this guy, I want to make sure Triest isn't, like this isn't a distraction or something, and there isn't somebody else. So I'm just going to stick real close to Triest and just kind of keep her calm and say, we'll wait here till our friends get done.
So Max, what was your question again? What were you asking this guy?
What do you want?
So as you kind of press your dagger into the small of his back, you realize that he's also kind of got a dagger in his hand that's sort of pressed up against you. And he says, "I want you to take that dagger out of my back."
Oh, okay. Why are you following us, I guess is the better question. You doofus. For a second, the dagger almost pulls away, but doesn't quite. And he says, "I'm not following you, I'm following the girl." For good or for ill?
"I just want to make sure she gets on that boat."
Cool. Who are you working for?
He says, "That's none of your business."
I press my dagger a little bit more firmly. Who are you working for?
He says, "I'm working for the Luskin Crime Syndicate."
I will disembowel you here with the fishes if you are lying to me. And I would like to make an insight check, please.
Make your insight check, sir.
11 on the dice. That's 14 total.
As far as you know, he's telling the truth.
Is he wearing a 3-tusk necklace?
Yeah. Is he wearing a necklace?
You can't see under the cloak that he's wearing. He's not wearing a necklace on the outside of the cloak, but you wouldn't be able to see if he was wearing one on the inside.
I will retrieve my dagger from his nether regions and say, "It looks like our ideals are aligned in this moment, but you should really, really work on your stealth."
He sheaths his dagger too, and he says, "I'll keep that in mind." But he doesn't look like he's going to.
That's fine.
Selene will let go of his leg too.
It'll be nice to see him coming the next time.
I'm gonna go back towards Gilly.
Yeah, Doran will make his way back there as well.
Yeah, I'll make eyes at Gilly and give him the nod, and I'll stay with our shadow here.
Trieste, it looks like we can continue on if you'd like. I think we're done here.
Brad, will you make another advantage perception check for me?
I'm going to really try to roll this time. 15.
15. With a 15, you smell poison. Unfortunately, you're not able to really figure out where it's coming from, but you do smell poison in the general vicinity.
Can I do the dog thing and look for it?
Yes. Roll... Let's see.
Investigation.
Yeah, roll investigation.
All right, here we go. See, I rolled a 14, but I tried to max my investigation out. 17.
17.
It's hard to max out a druid's investigation.
You see there's a kind of cadre of men emerging from the stalls, the fish stalls, and you believe that the smell of poison is coming from one of those men.
Do they look suspicious in other ways?
The hoods of their cloaks are up, similar to the man that had been following you, but the cloaks are different. It's not like they're all wearing the same cloaks.
I'll mill around them without trying to be too obvious about it and see what direction they travel.
They are making a beeline for your group in Triest.
Oh, then I'm going to bark really loud at them.
And Max is going to look at our shadow and say, if you really want to make sure that she gets on this ship, then you need to help us take care of these goons.
Without even hesitating, the guy throws open his cloak and reveals that he's got a kind of club underneath that appears to be made out of some sort of white, like maybe bone or something like that. And he stands right with you, ready to meet these guys. So I want all of you to roll initiative.
All right, let's get in a fight.
Yeah, let's mix it up.
Max, what did you get?
10 for Max.
Doran.
Doran got 14.
Gilbert.
Gilly got a 17. Or I'm sorry, a 20. Didn't have my modifier.
I'd like to think at this point, like there's like a cutscene to the Countess who's just like happily writing scripts on at her desk, drinking little sips from a very fancy little glass, some chartreuse or something, and just like putting down a beautiful wax seal down as they're about to head into this fight.
Sun streaming through the window on an autumn day, a little bird perched on the sill tweeting at her.
Yes. Day drunk.
She pauses to think.
She's getting classy hammered.
Yes.
She's drinking mimosas. Her butler
Bellinis.
that only shows up when she's alone is there. Madam, there's a spot of trouble down by the docks, I believe. Okay, so Gilly, you get to go first.
All right. So I'm going to look over at Selene and say to her, you going to stay back with Trieste?
Yes. I'll hang on to her.
All right, then I'm going to get in here. Gilly moves up quickly, his limp suddenly disappearing, and he speedily basically moves up to the group. You know, you don't look like you belong here too much, and I don't like the way you smell either. Smell a lot like fish. I think it's time for you to turn tail and head out. If they look like they're going to continue to do violence to us, then Gilly will attack them.
Yeah, they 100% look like they're going to do violence.
He just shrugs his shoulders and says, all right, you asked for it. All right, first guy, Gilly's going to go ahead and he flicks his cane and his thin sword pops out and he just gets in the mix with that guy. So he stabs at him with his sword cane. He's going to miss on that attack, but then he's going to spend a key point. After all, he is a bare knuckle boxer, aka a monk. And he's going to go ahead and use a bonus action to do flurry of blows and attack twice with his hands. So he's going to go ahead and hit him with like a sliding forearm strike. He's just going to wham, hit him across. This one's going to hit AC 16.
Yeah. You're attacking the guy in the front, right?
I'm attacking the lead guy, right? Whoever the lead guy is in that group that's menacing us.
Yeah, a 16 will hit him.
Great. Okay. He's going to take 6 points of bludgeoning damage from that attack. And then Gilly follows it up with basically just like a hammer fist, right? Bam! And brings it down on his shoulder. He can't quite reach his head. And he's going to hit AC 14.
That is a miss.
Okay. So he manages to roll out of the way of that one. So, yes. And Gilly has taken his 3 attacks, and he's moved up, so his turn's done.
Great. The man that had been tailing you, he moves up to attack with his club, and he's going to attack the man, or the cloaked figure to the right of the one that Gilly hit. And he does 3 whole damage with his strange bone club. But he yells something in Luskan as he swings that sounds loud and angry.
All right.
Doran, your turn.
So Doran, is Doran behind them because he was barking at him and drawing attention?
Yes.
He's going to go up behind the dude that ripped off his cloak, the leader guy. So he's going to viciously bite at the back of his legs and bark and make a ton of noise to distract him and cause him to have problems in battle. 20 to hit.
Yeah, that'll do it.
4 damage. And he has to succeed on a DC 11 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
He succeeds. He manages to keep his feet. Now it's one of these guys in their cloak. This is the guy actually off to the right of the lead guy. So he saw Gilly come in and land a series of blows, and then real randomly this giant dog ran in and bit his leader buddy guy. So he's actually going to make an attack against Gilly. Gilly, he swings a mean-looking curved sword down on you, but you manage to get out of the way of most of the blow. He only deals 3 damage to you.
Ah! Ooh, that stings. That'll be all right, though.
And now it is Selene's turn.
Do I have a direct line to any of them?
Like a line of sight?
Yeah, like, is there anybody in the way if I were to a Ray of Frost?
Oh, no, you could do a Ray Frost, definitely.
13?
Yeah, that would hit him.
6.
6 points of damage. Maximilian, time to do 1,000,000 damage.
Max is going to reach into his coat and pull out his hand crossbow and is going to take aim at the thug who is currently engaged with Gilly.
Okay.
So that's going to be a 16 to hit.
That hits.
And I get sneak attack damage. So that's going to be a 6 and a 4 plus 3, so 13 points of piercing damage.
Your the shot is so good. The crossbow bolt hits him in the throat and passes entirely through, and then ricochets off the wall behind him and back into the back of his head. And he's dead now. That it's a dead guy.
That's what you get for swinging a sword at my...
He's no puddle, though.
my friend.
Yeah, he's not quite a puddle, but it as close to a puddle as you can make someone with a crossbow. You've done that.
I want to move, but I want to position myself between the group and Triest.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Thanks for getting my back, Max.
Now one of the bad guys goes. He actually attacks the guy that was following you, that had whacked him with a club. And if you remember, the guy that was following you did 3 damage to this guy, so basically just bonked him on the nose. So no real damage, but the guy is crying a little bit, not because he's hurt so bad, but because he got hit on the nose, and now he's embarrassed too because he's crying in front of his buddies. Oh, God, critical hit.
Hey, at least it's not us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude takes... He swings with a sword, and the guy that was following you takes a nasty cut to his leg.
Oh, no.
And there's blood all over the place.
Whoa.
It doesn't look good. And then... Max, a crossbow bolt flies out from a window in a neighboring building and misses you so completely, under other circumstances would be pretty funny.
From a window, you say?
You're able to ascertain which window it is. It's just a second-story window in kind of like a... it's like a warehouse, but it's made up of kind of smaller rooms, and some of the rooms on the second floor have windows. And you can see another guy up there with a crossbow kind of cursing himself and his terrible aim.
Does Gilly see that as well? Like the guy?
No. But you can go again, because it's your turn.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Yes, you can.
That's the top of the round. What's the crowd doing around us?
Now they're freaking out. There was like kind of a moment where the dog was barking and everyone was sort of trying to figure out what it was. Some people were throwing fish, and like the people that were going to catch them didn't because they were looking around to figure out what was happening. But then they saw a man skewered with a crossbow, and another guy took a really nasty cut to the leg, and everyone is kind of running around in different directions trying to find safety.
Gilly turns to Selene and says, "We should get Triest out of here as quickly as possible."
Don't worry, I got it. I'll bring her over.
All right. I nod back at Selene, and then I dive back into the fight. There's one more combatant on the ground, right?
2 more combatants on the ground.
Okay.
And then the combatant in the warehouse window.
Okay. So are the 2 other guys with the hoods that smell like fish and poison, are they right next to each other?
They're very near each other. They're within 10 feet.
All right. Well, I'm going to position myself so I can basically be engaged by both of them.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead and bring my sword cane to bear and stab at one of the guys. I'm going to hit AC 15.
That'll hit.
Sweet. He's going to take 5 points of piercing damage. And then I'm going to spend a key point, and I'm going to do another flurry of blows. So first off, I'm going to just hit him with the heel of my hand, like trying to aim for the nose. AC 14.
Yeah, that'll hit.
He's going to take 6 points of bludgeoning damage from that strike.
He's going to go down, and you can decide whether or not you want to try to keep him alive.
So actually, that's a really good point. Gilly never attacks for lethal damage on humanoids.
Okay.
He will always, whenever he drops a humanoid target to 0, he will always knock him out.
Great.
And then I'll turn and look at the other guy, smile a bit, kind of crack a knuckle, and then I'm just going to bring a hook punch down on him. At the last moment, I kind of turn it into a hammer fist and just kind of bring my fist down. Again, I can't really hit him in the head real easy, so because I can't bring my fist around like that. I can kind of punch up to the face, but not like in a hook formation, so I kind of try to go for his shoulder, his weapon shoulder.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good hit. That's going to be AC 23.
Definitely hits.
And he's going to take 5 points of damage from that attack. Bludgeoning damage.
Perfect. He looks, he's not happy. Now it is the guy that followed you, his turn.
You doing all right there, buddy? You going to be okay?
He sort of just lets out like this bellow and brings his bone club down on the guy that's on the ground with you. Just smashes his club down on his head and lays him out.
Looks like he ain't getting up from that one.
And that guy is now dead.
I would just think of Little Mac when he's doing those punches up at these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good visual.
Doran, it is your turn.
You know, I can cast Jump. I can switch out and cast Jump on you if you want to go after those guys up in the windows. They'll let you just jump right up to those windows and beat the crap out of those dudes.
Max is the only one right now that's aware of the guy in the window.
Oh, we didn't see the crossbow bolts?
Right.
Oh, okay. I don't know about them then.
Yeah, as far as you're concerned, the fight is over.
I guess I'll just trot back over to Triest.
Selene, your turn. You were trying to rush Triest to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
We should try to get her out of here as soon as possible, just in case there's more.
How close are we?
You're moderately close. You're able to, with your full distance, you're able to get like basically to the dock that the boat is docked on, and it looks like the captain is aware of what's going on, the commotion on the docks, and he's trying to basically get the boat underway. So he, when he finds out that Triest has a charter on the boat, he basically rushes her on board and starts getting the boat ready to go.
Okay, so I'll make sure she gets in with him and then actually get off the boat so that we can kind of watch the area to make sure that they take off.
Perfect. Max, your turn.
So both of the combatants that were in melee with Gilly and our Luskin friend are down?
Yeah, all three of the enemies that started on the ground are either dead or unconscious. The one up in the window is not looking super confident at the prospects before him.
Right. So I'm going to yell at our Luskin friend. I'm going to point at the one that's unconscious, and I'm going to say, keep him alive. We need to ask them questions. And then I think I want to take a shot with my hand crossbow at the guy in the window before trying to get up to the window.
Great. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
All right. It's 12.
A 12 hits.
12 hits. Awesome. That's a 6 damage. 6 total damage.
So it's the guy in the window's turn. He now has a crossbow bolt kind of sticking out of his shoulder, and he just turns around and hightails it. He books it back into the building and takes off.
Is it apparent from our street level where he might exit that building?
No, you only have visibility on one face of the building. It's entirely possible and, in fact, likely that there are multiple entrances and exits on all the sides of the building.
In that case, I would like to, if he's going to bolt, I want to make my movement over toward our unconscious adversary.
So as you kind of near him, the guy who was following you, who now has like this terrible gash in his leg, sort of looks at you and he says, "You have to get me out of here right now."
Are we out of combat?
Yes.
Okay, let me heal him.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to cast Healing Word, in which case it is a first level spell, and I will have to sing.
Okay.
I put a spell on you. Nice. 7.
Perfect. He's back up to mostly full health.
Excellent.
So he seems better now, but he still seems really eager to get out of there. He says, come on, we need to go before the guards get here.
Do you want to get out of the city or get out of the docks?
He says, I need to get out of this area. We have to get to the North Ward.
To the North Ward, all right. So you don't want to get on the ship with Triest.
He says, no, I just needed to make sure that she got on the ship.
Got it.
Why don't you and Doran take him to the North Ward, and Selene and I will make sure that Trieste gets on the ship, okay?
Selene already did that.
She's completely on the ship? Okay, great.
Yep, she's on the ship, and the ship is actually taking off from the dock right now.
Oh, perfect. Well, then we can all escort him to the North Ward. Let's get out of here.
What do we want to... we have an unconscious adversary that I would love to ask some questions of.
Bring him along.
Anybody got a sack?
Yeah, we can't just drag him through the streets.
Three littles and a tiefling.
Well, I was going to wrap my
dragging
tail
an
around a sack at
unconscious
this
body
point.
through the streets of Waterdeep.
You see a goblin dragging a guy through the street.
No, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. So, we're gonna quickly rifle through his clothes and stuff, see if there's anything, identifiers, anything like that, anything of interest or note, anything valuable to on any of them really, and then we need to book it. We can't be spending time interrogating him right now because he's right. The guards will be on us pretty quick.
I can dig it.
So everyone go ahead and roll investigation checks.
19.
23.
No.
17 on the dice, plus 6.
Ridiculous.
I got a 6.
Yeah.
Gilly got a 17.
So you actually don't find much as in the way of identifiers. You do find that all three of these men have the necklaces, the 3 tusk necklaces. Max, you're able to find the one that had been in the lead. His necklace actually has 6 tusks on it. And he has a very unique scar that starts kind of behind one ear and travels all the way down to his shoulder.
I'm just writing this down.
So it's not identifying, but it definitely is memorable.
I like to imagine that the Countess is now, like, taking a nap.
Just a quick snooze, quick little afternoon snooze.
I like to imagine that the combat just kept cutting back to her doing her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And she's sort of like just dozing off at the desk and just like just waking herself up.
Like she finds a pair of Gilly's old socks and throws them away.
I don't think she would touch them.
She'd have her servant come get them.
Yeah.
Unseen servant.
She picks them up with like tongs.
Yeah.
The six tusk guy. By the way, the tusk word is really hard to say with all this
I know.
stuff.
I'm really regretting
I'm just
naming
saying,
that organization.
tusk is not an easy word to say when you add any other words with it.
Thrice
Tusked.
What was I thinking?
That guy was sex tusked, actually.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly. So
Hep-tusked.
Does his scar, is it on the left or right side of his face?
Left side of his face.
Great. Okay. All right. We know all that stuff. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, so you can hear as you're sort of exiting the dock area, you can hear the guards kind of coming en masse and trying to help restore calm and figure out what happened and what's going on. And you're able, with the man, to get him out of the dock ward and to the gate of the north ward, where it doesn't appear that word of the difficulty on the docks has reached, because the guards there are both pretty quiet and relaxed.
We would have patched up his leg in such a way, and maybe either gotten him some new pants along the way or something to make sure that it wasn't obvious that he had taken that big. I got nicked, so I'm probably fine. But obviously Selene healed him, but his pants are probably tore up or something where he got cut. So we would want to go ahead and take care of that.
Yeah.
For sure.
When we get to that gate,
yep.
Gilly's just gonna kind of turn to him and say, we never did get your name.
He turns around and he drops the hood and he says, "My name is Mons Gruckenson. I owe you a great debt."
Well, Mons Gruckenson, nice to meet you. I'm Gilly Goodnight. These are my friends. This is Max, Selene, Doran. We're part of the Waterdeep Detective Agency.
Max hands him a business card.
We're going to have to make business cards.
Oh, they're already in progress.
Yeah. He seems to cock his head a little bit when you say the Waterdeep Detective Agency, as if he recognizes it. But he sort of nods. He says, "I'll be in touch. Like I said, I owe you guys one. You really helped me out today. So it'll be my pleasure to, repay you as soon as I can."
We look forward to that day.
And Max wants to, right before he leaves, he wants to ask, he wants to do like the turn to walk away, but then turn back and be like, "Gruckenson," as in Grucken's son?
He nods.
Yeah, we should definitely talk later.
Has Triest made good her escape? Is this really Grucken Axhaft's son? And what will the City Watch think about a battle in the dock ward in broad daylight? To find out, you'll have to tune in next time to Deep Trouble. As always, we'd like to thank Tabletop Audio for the great ambient sounds. You can find them at tabletopaudio.com. And if you're interested in helping us help some kids, then we'll be playing Dungeons & Dragons for Extra Life, November 5th between 2 and 4 p.m. Pacific Time on the Dungeons & Dragons Twitch channel. All proceeds will be going to benefit the Seattle Children's Hospital. Once again, thanks for listening, and tune in next time for more mystery.
The Adventure They Wrote podcast is copyright 2018 AdventureTheyWrote.com and is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivative Works 4.0 International License. That means that you can share it, and we really encourage that, but you can't make any changes to it, and you're not allowed to charge for it. If you have any questions, visit creativecommons.org.